Yeah, welcome back as the Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network, and of course today we have a lot for you this morning. Joining us to do justice on the show is Kevin Ayo. Kevin Ayo, of course, is a sport journalist in Port Harcourt. Good morning to you, Kevin, and welcome to Sports Talk on Atlantic TV.
Good morning to you, Kingsley, and well, thank you for having me on your sports show this morning.
Kevin, I know you, of course, you've been in Niger Street, where, of course, the basketball court down in Rivers State is located. And, of course, yesterday we saw another impressive performance from the host team, talking about Rivers Hoopers against Hoops and Reed. Was really an intense encounter. I believe, you saw how that one, of course, apart. What do you make of it? Rivers Hoopers now back-to-back, Nigerian Premier Basketball League champions. What do you make of the performance from the Kingsmen?
Okay, it's been a very impressive scene in the city of Port Harcourt for the Nigerian Premier Basketball League Final 8 after the Atlantic Conference and the Savannah Conference ended some weeks back in different locations of the country. And coming into this finals, 8 teams had to log it out to be champions of the Nigerian Premier Basket, presents Nigeria in the Basketball African League, so champions. And definitely we saw it yesterday. Coming into this game, very clinical from the start to finish. but at some point, fatigue has to set in. Playing 5 games at the stretch, you understand what it is when a player stays onto the court on 5 consecutive times. Definitely fatigue was in, but the tactical prowess of the technical manager Rivers Hoopers, talking about Ogo Odaldo, whatever prowess, to ensure that the team go out to grab this particular win, defeating Hoops and Beat in that particular encounter 54-71. It shows how dominant the Rivers State basketball has become. It shows how dominant Rivers Hoopers has become in the Nigerian basketball scene.
Impressive one, put up that level of performance, unbeaten, of course, down to the final, and also won this particular one. Kevin, what do you make of it? Is it that other teams down here in
Hoops are back-to-back finalists? In 2023, the finalists they played against Rivers Hoopers, and definitely that particular game. And this same team that just played in the finals, they also met at the Atlantic Conference, where Rivers Hoopers had to nip it away just by 2 points difference in that particular encounter against the team. Not that the dominance of the Rivers Hoopers has been a sting in the Nigerian Premier Basketball. There are other clubs, though. Comes to club, which is Ife Osaka. He has been very instrumental. He has been in the basketball scene for long and experienced. Ogoda would being the national team coach of the Nigerian Basketball Federations, the Tigers, and also the best. When I mean the best coach in the African continent now, Rivers Hoopers to be the 3rd best team in Africa. So you understand that bragging rights will nearly be at stake.
All right, let's quickly move on and take a look at, still talking about the performance of the team. We saw one man who came in, Kevin Amayo, most valuable player, of course, of the team down there. What do you make of Kevin Amayo? I think he was brought in this final 8, and of course was able to prove a point for himself once again for the Kingsmen. What do you make of his performance, and for him, of course, getting the most valuable player award?
That was a shock absorber that Rivers Hoopers had to pull against every other team. Don't forget that before the start of the final 8, other teams have also brought in some great players. Talking about George Williams, who played for the Boko City Chiefs side, and some other kudos for him. The fans shares him. Is the talking point currently in Nigerian basketball football scene.
All right, talking about the impressive performance from some teams and as well as some players, what do you make of it? Were you disappointed with the performance of any of the 8 teams in the final 8 so far?
Well, I wouldn't say I was disappointed, but you see, when it comes to final 8 here, it is a game of the best of the best. And we saw most of these teams coming out with their 8 games. The life of Kano, yes, they tried as much as they could. And don't forget debutant Nile University, who are also making the appearance for the Nigerian Premier Basketball League for the very first time, making it to final 8. Impressive. They came out 4th on this particular tournament. It shows that in the next years, Nile University Basketball Club will be a club that will be talk of the town. And in the cost of these, with what they've done so far, we expect to see more of a university basketball team coming into the fray to ensure that the basketball is now just like what we experience in America, the NBA, where most of players are drafted in the NBA from the university scene. Expect to see more of these in the coming years, in the coming Nigerian Premier Basketball League season.
All right, Ayo, Rivers Hoopers, of course, they've picked the tickets for the Basketball African League this time. The last time, of course, they played in the Basketball African League, they finished 3rd, and now they've gotten the ticket once again. What are your expectations from the Kingsmen this time around at the Basketball African League?
Well, the expectation from the Rivers Hoopers is very high. Returning to the continent, the African Basketball League for the third consecutive time. It shows that they know the terrain very well. It's not just about going there. The last time they appeared in the basketball,
this team, we talk about Bogu City Chiefs, Hoops and Raid, getting a very impressive performance than this side. And a lot of talks have been on the fact that it's as a result of the poor state of the league not being consistent, just having the league once in a year. Not good for the teams, not good for the players, because some of them at some point go match, are rusty. At this point in time that we're now seeing, some teams like Nine University, you talk about, Bogo City Chief, Hoops and Raid stepping up their game. What will be your advice at this point in time to the Nigerian Basketball Federation in terms of making the league better?
I think at this very point in time, it is where we want to see the league rotate, because not where you just take a certain number of team and you group them into Atlantic and Savannah Conference. We want to see where as a rotational. Let it be an home and away games. Everybody had to feel each other court. It shouldn't just be a neutral ground where the final eight or the players into the atmospheres and different cultures and different environment, different water case may be. So in this case now, it won't be like when the Rivers Hoopers are traveling to a certain country to not acclimatize to the weather conditions of that particular environment. So it's something that we want to see most of all these, the league being rotated, just like we used to have in the previous years. Fans get to see their players, get to understand who and who needs to come in and who needs to leave the club in the community. So we're looking at it now. The Nigerian Basketball Federation needs to do more in ensuring they stable the league and rotate this league accordingly the way it should be. Taking the teams to one particular geographical zone, and at the end of the day, we are having final 8 or final 4.
All right, Kevin, thank you very much for joining us this morning. I know you're a very busy man this morning. I have to, of course, look for your show this morning.
Thank you very much, and we'll still continue the celebrations because the Ephorias of Port Harcourt is still haggled back at the courtesy of the Rivers. So thank you very much for having me.
Before you go, talking about the celebration, what's the Rivers State government? What are they preparing for the boys? What are they preparing?
Well, let me just say this. Yesterday, the Commissioner for Sports, Barrister Christopher Green, actually promised the team it cost 10 million naira after emerging Victoria. But you know how the plans are when it comes to the fanfare and the appreciation of the team who has done very well. So we expect more from the.
Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network, and of course we'll bring you the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports. And of course it's time for you to take a look at some results from the NBA. And of course we have a basketball expert with us as well this morning, and his name is Kelechi Clifford. Good morning to you, Kelechi. How are you doing this morning? Kelechi, you can hear me. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you now. All right, Kelechi, you're welcome. It's really been a while, but thank God we have you today on the show. All right,
It's been.
yeah. Let's before we take a look at the NBA results, let's talk about the ATP final. Was over the weekend. Yannick Sinner, of course, became the first Italian player to win the ATP final with a very impressive performance. Going, putting up an unbeaten run, in that particular one down, to the final. What do you make of Yannick Sinner getting his first ATP final title?
I mean, kudos to Yannick Sinner. It's been an exceptional year for him so far. I never really believed that Yannick Sinner would be this good. I've seen, young players like Carlos Alcaraz over the last couple of years do extremely well, but Yannick Sinner has taken it to another level. He's currently unplayable. His records, everything he's achieved this year alone is really eye-catching. And at this point in time, it will take someone to be Yannick Sinner, to beat Yannick Sinner. Winning that tournament without dropping a set, the first Italian man to do that in, as many years, and of course to not drop a single set is really, really phenomenal. And he was always the favorite going to that ATP final. And Taylor Fritz had nothing to do, no answers to Yannick Sinner now. And this is an incredible form, and I'm really happy that we're seeing it. It's not a Djokovic that is doing this. It's not a Nadal or a Federer. It's someone who has really been consistent, and I hope that he can continue, and especially if he's not ruined by injuries, because that is really Yannick Sinner's problem so far in his career. Injuries can actually cause him problems, but so far I believe that Sinner is on another level of tennis that we're seeing from him. If he continues in this fashion, he can actually be one of the greatest players ever.
All right, let's quickly move on. We saw some results early hours of today in the NBA, Kelechi. I don't know what you make of it. Detroit Pistons, of course, they were beaten by Chicago Bulls 122 to 112. Responsible for the struggle of Philadelphia 76ers. They were beaten today by Miami Heat. Unless you can hear me, I can hear you. Can you hear me? I'm still struggling to hear you, Kelechi. Can you hear me? All right, we try to see how we can, of course, put up, make up make the audio better. Talking about, we having that good interaction with Kelechi. But those are some of the results, of course, we saw early as of today, of course, in the NBA. And of course, we saw LA Clippers. They got past Golden State Warriors, 102 to 99 in that particular one. Let's take a break, and we'll come back, of course, from this break. Try as much as we can to get that that connection established with Kelechi, so that we can, get some insight about some results we saw early as of today in the NBA. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
from the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN. from the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains. Through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.